Hey, is this thing on? Hello? Hit it again. I think it's on now. Welcome to Hiker Trash Radio, where each week, Doc will drag some colorful characters out of the woods to talk trail and Type 2 fun. If you're aspiring hiker trash, or if you're just looking to understand the hiker trash in your life, look no further. So lace up those boots, gnaw on some jerky, and settle into your 20-mile pace as we fire up the podcast from somewhere deep in the backcountry. It's time to embrace the suck.
And welcome back to another week on the trail. Dirtbags, hiker trash, and of course, those good-smelling day hikers. I'm Doc, and this is Hiker Trash Radio. Hey, if you like what we're doing here, help us out. Take just a minute, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. And if you don't like what we're doing, well, just go ahead and keep that to yourself. All right, let's get to this week's guest. We're going to be sharing I'm hearing my own voice in the background. It might be Lauren. Do you have headphones by chance, Lauren?
I don't think I do. Let me see. I don't have any that can connect to my computer. This is something I discovered earlier today. Unfortunately.
Okay, is there a way to mute yourself until you're going to talk, maybe? I don't know if that's going to help. Try muting yourself, and let me see if I hear my voice. Testing, 1, 2, 3. You still hear that, Chris? Coming through?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
But I'm hearing like my own voice like a second later through Lauren's computer.
Yeah, I'm not hearing it.
Okay.
I can hear it. And I can hear me sometimes come back.
Yeah. Okay. You don't have any headphones that can connect?
Give me just 1 second.
Okay. You are muted.
Yep, I don't think that I do, unfortunately.
Okay. Well, we'll give it our best shot here then. All right, let me just do the little intro here again. Here we go.
Sorry.
And welcome back to another week on the trail. Dirtbags, hiker trash, and of course, those good-smelling day hikers. I'm Doc, and this is Hiker Trash Radio. Hey, if you like what we're doing, help us out. Take just a minute, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. And if you don't like what we're doing, well, just go ahead and keep that to yourself. All right. This week, we're going to be featuring a great endeavor connected to the outdoors that also makes a huge impact back at home. Today, we are talking to Lauren Rump and Kris Townsend about CureSearch, an organization that organizes Ultimate Hike, which are long-distance hikes across the U.S. to fundraise for children's cancer research. Welcome to Hiker Trash Radio, Lauren and Kris. How's it going?
It's going great here.
Yeah, it's going really good. I'm really excited to be here. Thank you for having us on the show.
Well, I'm excited to have both of you, and I understand that you're both in Texas right now, in different parts of Texas, and it's been a pretty stormy last couple of days. How's it going out there?
Yeah, it is. It's been a crazy week. Yeah. So I know Lauren can speak more about the storms in Houston last week, but we had some pretty crazy ones roll through Temple last night, which is just north of me.
I am very grateful that we have power again. I was fortunate that I didn't lose it too long, but some people in my family still don't have power, and it is very hot down here. So, yeah, it was a crazy storm for sure. But
Yeah,
everyone, glad to be safe.
Yep, glad you're safe. Glad you both have power, so we could be talking tonight. And I introduced you as being kind of related to CureSearch, although you both have very different roles in that or with that organization. So, Lauren, you want to tell us about your role, and then when she's done, Kris, tell us exactly how you're involved.
Okay.
I'm the community engagement manager here at CureSearch for children's cancer. So I support the western portion of the United States, including Texas in that region. I actually got involved with CureSearch about 6 years ago as a hiker for the Central Texas Ultimate Hike, which we'll talk more about in a little bit. And then I became a coach, and I loved the organization and what they were doing so much that a little over a year and a half ago, I was able to come on as a staff partner, and it's been an incredible journey so far. So I'm really honored to work for this amazing organization that's really making an impact in the pediatric cancer space.
Okay. Yeah, and so my relationship with CureSearch is definitely much younger. I so far I've just been the hiker side of that, but I think I'm going to be following in Lauren's footsteps to some extent, and we can talk about all that stuff that I'm looking forward to getting involved with CureSearch soon. But yeah, I'm just a rando who hiked an ultimate hike.
Love it. Just a rando. That might be the name of the episode. I'm always on the lookout for a good trail name for the episode. Just a rando. That's a phrase that strikes a little too close to home for me. So that might be pretty good. All right. Hey, have the two of you listened to Hiker Trash Radio before? Do you know what you're getting yourselves into?
Yeah, I'm excited. I listen a lot. It's definitely much more interesting podcast than half the stuff I listen to. So,
okay, I'm in the top 50%. That's good to know. Thank you so much, Kris. Yeah. And Lauren has no idea. She has no idea what's in store for her. She's just gonna, just buckle up and strap in for the ride. We're gonna have a good time tonight. Well, I try to treat each episode as if we're on a hike. We're going to take a little trip tonight, a little journey down the trail, and we're going to hear from both of you about your experiences, your background, and like I said, I'm always on the lookout for a trail name for the episode. I like to apply that technique to each episode. We'll find something funny, something peculiar, or maybe we'll just be straightforward with it and call it CureSearch. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But I want to make sure that each of you are aware that towards the end of every episode, we do have a segment called the hiking hack. And that's where I'm going to turn to each of you and ask you to share some trail wisdom with our listeners to make the next outdoor experience even better. Because you both have said that you're former hikers, current hikers. You've got the trail wisdom. You're going to share it with our listeners. All right. So don't be surprised when we get there. Okay.
Sounds good.
Now, have either of you in your time on the trail picked up a trail name? Because, we typically go by trail names here on the podcast. I'm Doc. That's not on my paycheck or on my driver's license, but that's how you'll refer to me tonight. Kris, let's start with you. Have you picked up a trail name out there, buddy?
I have, and it's a good one. My trail name is Buttercup. A friend of mine that hikes with me fairly often noticed that I can get a little grumpy sometimes with some of our big groups of day hikers with my hiking club, and so she named me after the Powerpuff Girl Buttercup, and it stuck, and I dig it.
It seems slightly ironic. I didn't watch the Powerpuff Girls, so I'm not sure if Buttercup is grumpy on the show or not. But just at first blush, Buttercup seems to be an ironic nickname or trail name for somebody who is typically grumpy on the trail. And I like the ironic trail names. That's great.
Yeah.
How about you, Lauren?
I have not been given like an official trail name out on the trail yet, but at work we have trail names too, and they tend to call me Magic 8 Ball because sometimes I respond just like a Magic 8 Ball would throughout like an entire day. So when I'm getting really silly or tired on hike weekends, I tend to just be like, indeed, or the odds are not in your favor. It's not looking good. So I give those short little snippet answers, and that's how they gave me that name.
Well, Buttercup, let's hope that Magic 8 Ball is a little more verbose tonight. That's not really a good mix for an interesting podcast. Just a few word answer there.
Yeah, we'll have her do a song and dance if she can't talk enough.
Okay. Now, Magic 8 Ball, that's a lot of syllables. Do they ever shorten it to something else? Is it like just 8 Ball or
8 Ball? Yeah.
Okay. All right. And since that's only a work trail name, Buttercup and we're going to be on the lookout for maybe a more official trail name for you during the episode tonight.
Love it.
Okay. Hey, let's get to our first segment.
Trailblazers Toolkit.
That's right. It's time for the Trailblazers Toolkit, sponsored by the ultralight backpacking gear company 6 Moon Designs. Now, I love to talk about gear on the podcast, and I love to hear about the most important item in my guest adventure gear. So, Buttercup and 8 Ball, if you were preparing for your next adventure, and I was the one providing you with all your gear, what is the one specific piece of gear you would insist on being packed? Give me all the details on that piece of gear. Tell me why you've got to have it out there. And this can be any kind of item. It could be gear, could be apparel, could be a luxury item. So, Lauren and Kris, what is that item in your toolkit? And we'll let the two of you decide who goes first.
I'll go first. I was brainstorming earlier and trying to think of what that might be, but a few years ago when I got really into hiking, I am not as lucky to just be able to pee wherever I want, as you know. So the Kula cloth, I think, is really what I would make sure to bring. It makes all of the outdoor restroom needs much easier on the trail and a little less messy, and I don't have to worry about packing a lot of things in and out. So that's what I'm going with. Probably more than you needed, but
the Kula cloth. It's like we're on the trail. We overshare on the trail. We talk with strangers we hardly know and share all kinds of wild stuff with them. So I'm glad that we're hitting the Kula cloth conversation early. Nice.
Yeah, I've transitioned lots of ultimate hikers who have never peed in the woods to Kula cloth too. So, I'm making a small impact in the hiking world when it comes to women having to use the restroom on the trail.
All right. Buttercup, how about you? What is that item in your toolkit?
If we could just, extend this podcast to like 8 hours and we can talk gear for the rest of the evening. But if not, I'm going to have to go with, I've got this really bad or good habit of getting on Garage Grown Gear and just scrolling through all of the rando things that they've got. And I came across the Spuds Stick Stashers. They're these little magnet, hiking pole mounts so that you can stick them on your bag. And I am so bad about using hiking poles because they're on my bag and I have to take my bag off to get them. And once I got those, I can actually, use my hiking poles and then put them back. So those have really, for such a small thing, they've really changed how I hike, just because they make it so much easier to use those hiking poles.
Fantastic. And Buttercup, you've just earned yourself 10 bonus points on the hiking pole, which is our next segment, because you mentioned one of our sponsors, Garage Grown Gear. So you are ahead of the game. I don't know if you've listened before and you've heard people get bonus points because they've mentioned sponsors, but well done, sir. Nice job.
I'm going for the win.
Now, take a quick time out here because I think Lauren's voice is coming through on your speakers. Buttercup. So maybe when you're not talking, mute. Oh, that's right. You have, it isn't because you've got yours on. Okay.
Yeah.
Never mind. I'll edit this little piece out too. No problem.
Yeah, I can certainly mute when I'm not talking though.
Okay. Here we go. Back at it. And this is a perfect segue to that next segment.
It's the hiking pole.
It's the hiking pole, and that's pole spelled with 2 L's, like a survey, not like the things you put on your Spuds stick stashers. If I got that correct. This is a 7-question survey that's going to help me give you a score on the Sandy scale from 1 to 100, with 1 being completely sane and 100 being, no, that's the wrong way around. This will help me give you a score on the sanity scale from 1 to 100, with 1 being completely insane and 100 being completely sane. Spoiler alert, nobody has scored in the 90s yet. So if you're on the podcast already, it's an indication that you're a little bit crazy. So like I said, there's an automatic plus 10 for Buttercup because he did mention garage grown gear. So these are all 7 questions related to hiking in your comfort zone here. And it's not word association. It's not rapid fire. You have to give me your answer, and then you have to pretend like you're back in school. You have to show your work. You have to tell me why you answered that way. That's going to help me with my scoring algorithm. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. Let's go ladies first on this. I'm going to ask you each one of these questions. All right. Each person is going to answer number 1 and then on number 2 and so on. And then we'll derive a score from your answers. Question number 1, 8 Ball. When you're out on the trail and you're with others, maybe you're leading a hike, what are your top 3 topics of conversation on the trail? What do you like to talk about out there?
There's a lot of sex talk that takes place on the trail. I can't deny it. It gets mildly inappropriate really quick. Anytime. I feel a little like I'm here to promote work too, so maybe we need to edit that out, but sex talk for sure. A lot about like life and family and what's going on and kind of the flowers that I stop and see. I'd say it's a pretty wide range of enjoying what I'm looking at and the scenery and talking about that, and then it gets a little spicy.
Yeah, I mean you're exactly right. That is a wide range of different topics there. Yeah, we covered the gamut. Buttercup, how about you? What do you like to talk about out there?
Mine is not nearly as interesting. I evidently need to be hiking in Lauren's hiking group a little more often. I tend to really nerd out about gear. If I hear the word tent, I'm in the conversation immediately. And really like in that line of gear, footwear. If we want to get in an argument about footwear, like I am all for it. It's a weird passion of mine is taking care of your feet. And then the third one, I like to hear, people's like favorite hike, like just, tell me your favorite hike. And that's a question that we ask a lot at our introductions with my group. And, it inspires people to get out and try a new area that, someone's super passionate about. And so I love that.
Now, Buttercup, I get the sense that you are a gear junkie.
Yeah. If my job only knew how much I spent on like garage grown gear or REI or whole earth provisions, just looking at stuff. And, I have a lot of gear, that I've bought because like I just want to try it out. And so anytime anybody in the group is going camping, I'm always like, hey, what do you need? Because chances are I've got 5 of them.
What percentage of your garage is taken up by gear boxes?
So the garage is probably at least at least 30%. But then I also have a trailer for camping that I've built that has more gearboxes on it that's outside. And there's usually quite a bit of gear hanging out in my car too.
That is a good ratio. All right, on to question number 2. This one's for you, Buttercup. What is the best trail name you've encountered out there?
Let's see. One of my favorites, because of the story behind it, is just so sweet, is and I didn't actually I haven't hiked with her yet, but Katie Oates, Oates being the trail name. And I'm sure, you know, you've heard her story and how she got that name, and it just cracks me up, and I just love that trail name.
Yeah, Katie is great. She works for Sawyer. She's been on the podcast as well. I believe it's Katie Houston, and she goes by Oates. And she also wrote a story in the newest book compilation from Christine Reed, who wrote Alone in Wonderland. She just published a new book called Blood, Sweat, Tears, all about the female perspective out on the trail. And Katie was able to contribute to that. So really excited for her. That's great.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Magic 8 Ball. What is the best trail name you've encountered out there? Is it a spicy one?
No, I haven't. You know, I haven't been on the trail with too many people outside of Ultimate Hike. So, unfortunately, I don't have a really good answer for you.
Okay. I will mark you down accordingly.
Yep. I can lose some points for that one. That's fair.
All right. Question number 3, Magic 8 Ball. Toilet paper, bidet, leaves, wipes, sticks, rocks, snow. What is your preference out there?
The Kula cloth, but if not, I would say probably leaves.
Okay. Using the natural resources. Got it.
Oh, yep.
And there's usually this is where you explain your answer.
Oh, I gotta explain it. So I would say, that's why I like the Kula cloth so much. I don't have to worry about digging in my pack for a trash bag or toilet paper or anything like that. So, it makes it very easy. If not, I probably try to just go the natural route. So I'll stick with the leaves out of all of those choices.
All right. How about you, Buttercup?
I am a recent convert to the bidet, thanks to Garage Grown Gear again. Looking through stuff like, I'm going to try this out. And I'm like, yep, that is the ticket. That's the way to go. Just throw it on. I've got a little one that's like goes on a water bottle, just a real tiny one that just lives in my pack, and throw it on the water bottle, take care of business, and I'm on my way.
And you put that on your water bottle that you drink out of?
No, I carry at least 2 water bottles, and one is always my dirty water bottle that I use for the filter water from. So that one can get whatever on it. Shout out to Sawyer Filters.
Nice. Now, Magic 8 Ball, you seem to have a strong reaction when he revealed that he used a bidet. I'm not sure if you were looking at something else in your vicinity or if that was a strong reaction to his choice.
It's just really weird to me. Like, the thought sounds like maybe, I like a good bidet every once in a while at, someone's fancy house that I walk into or something, but on the trail, and it's just that's just a weird thing to be doing out there. And what if you mix up the water bottle and it's just a lot of cross-contamination things happening that,
Yeah. Buttercup,
that's why the dirty water bottle. Oh, go ahead.
Buttercup, how long did it take you to become proficient with the portable bidet? It seems to me that there's a learning curve with that.
It's, there really isn't. If you haven't tried it out, highly recommend. Yeah, almost no learning curve. It's, you're either squirting in the right spot or you're not. So.
All right. Squirting in the right spot. Squirting in the right spot is another candidate for the name of the episode. That's good.
Nice.
All right. Where are we? You completely derailed me. Question number 4. 8 Ball, breakfast in camp, on trail, or no breakfast?
In camp, for sure. I like slow mornings. And so I want to enjoy my morning and my coffee and have some breakfast before I get back on the trail.
Okay. Buttercup?
It's really mileage dependent. I'm a big fan of cranking out big mileage during the day. And if I'm going big mileage, it's starting really early in the morning, and it's chugging coffee on the trail, and I'll eat something along the way.
Okay. Question number 5. Buttercup, do you prefer to hike solo or with others? A tramley?
I like. Oh,
Well,
sorry. I didn't follow the rules. Go ahead.
Just trying to cheat and get some extra points. For most of my hiking career, I guess you could say, I was very much a solo hiker, and really enjoyed being a solo hiker. And then I found Connect and Hike, which is the group I'm involved with now, and have found a lot of joy out of hiking with other folks, especially when you can kind of rotate who those folks are and get new stories, and you can really cover a lot of mileage without noticing if you're talking the whole time.
okay. Now it's your turn, 8 Ball.
Sorry. I like hiking with other people. There are times in life where going on a solo hike is really therapeutic and good for you, but I like having those really spicy conversations,
You beat me to the punch. I was going to say that. And you know what? You did it to yourself. That's good. That's good. You took that opportunity there. All right. 8 Ball, it's your turn first now. I'm going to give you 3 items, and I want you to rank them in order of preference. So I'm going to give you 3 items, and you're going to say, okay, this is my favorite, this is my next favorite, and this is my least favorite. All right? Okay. I think she's nodded that she understands that. Okay. Here are the 3 items, 8 Ball. 5 miles severe uphill, 5 miles severe downhill, 20-mile road walk on asphalt.
Oof. Severe uphill, then downhill, then 20 miles on the asphalt. Yeah.
And then here's that explanation thing again. Yeah, right.
Thanks for, helping me along, because I need lots of reminders. I think if I'm going 5 miles extreme uphill, there's going to be something really great at the top, hopefully, that's going to make that all worth it. Same with coming down. Like, I just accomplished something incredible, so now I get to go down, and there will be rewarding things waiting for me back at the car, and I get to take off my shoes and eat my favorite candies and all of those things. And then 20 miles, that just sounds terrible. So I don't know who chooses that. Is that ever first?
Nobody has yet chosen the 20-mile road walk on asphalt as their favorite, and if they did, they'd be in single digits on the sanity scale. So, yeah,
that's nuts.
Yeah. All right, Buttercup, let's hear your strategy here.
Well, you shouldn't have told her that, because it's a real toss up between 5 miles uphill and the 20 miles of asphalt. Like I said, I love big mileage, and it really, the surface doesn't necessarily bother me. I kind of started my hiking career, more rucking, and just weight on the back, going as fast as I can, and doing big mileage. So it's a real toss up between the 5 miles uphill and the 20 miles of asphalt. Just to keep myself out of single digits, we'll go 5 miles uphill, because that's equally type 2 fun to me as the asphalt, which is a very close number 2. And then in a very, very, very far third is 5 miles downhill. I am, I've been doing this for a long time, haven't treated my body quite as well as I should, and downhill hurts. It wears my knees out.
Absolutely. All right. Question number 7, last question in the hiking poll. What's more important, pack weight or luxury items? And as part of that answer, we need to hear your base weight. So, Buttercup, you're up.
It's for me, it has become luxury items. But a lot of it is because I'm affording the luxury items in weight. So I invest in a lot of ultralight gear, and it's not necessarily to get my pack weight down. It's more like, ooh, I get to take this now without my bag being crazy heavy. That's kind of where I'm at. I think my pack weight, I haven't updated like my summer pack weight. My winter pack weight is sitting at like 14 pounds, dry.
Okay. 8 Ball, how about you? Pack, luxury items or pack weight? What's more important?
I don't have a good answer for you because I don't do a lot of through hiking. So just currently a day hiker. But I think if we're going based off that, I'll go with luxury items. And I have this fear that I'll get in scenarios where I won't be able to get out and I'll be stuck out there. So I always make sure that I have lots of snacks that I never eat and water and all of those things. So I don't know.
That's right. That's a saying. That is a common saying that we pack our fears. Whatever we're afraid of that we're going to run into out there, we pack that, and we tend to overpack. So I totally understand where you're coming from, 8 Ball. All right. Yeah. This is the mathematical portion of the episode. I've got to take my shoes off. This is a very complicated process here. I've got to, let's say I got to carry the 3. We're going to divide by pi. I'm going to multiply by root 5, of course. And then I'm going to make a slight adjustment for the number of spicy conversations in 8 Ball's hiking group. And I come up with a couple of very interesting scores here. Buttercup, even with the extra 10 points, you're at 43, sir. And 8 Ball, you finish out at 47.
That's a fair score. She got me with the spicy, yeah.
Yeah. Yes. All right. Hey, before we get too far down the trail, let's back up a little bit. And before we go to break, we'd love to hear about your background, where you guys grew up, kinds of activities were you involved in, and how in the world did you get involved in for you, Buttercup, the thru hiking cult, and for you, Lauren, in the outdoor adventure cult. So let's go ladies first on this. Where'd you grow up and how'd you get into this?
I grew up in Houston, born and raised right here, actually not far from where I currently live. And I was very fortunate. My parents we traveled quite a bit, all throughout the country. That was something that was really important to them, and even sometimes outside of the country. So, and we did a lot of camping and kind of those types of adventures too. But as I got older, travel was always super important to me, and then I've tried to instill that in my kids, so we do a lot of that too. And to get into like the hiking world, it was actually like maybe I always did a little, small hikes here and there on trips, but it was about 6 years ago, and I actually stumbled across an ultimate hike information session at REI, and I was like, I can go hike 22 miles in one day without doing any, I didn't end up training, and I did it. It sucked terribly, and then I was like, I want to keep doing that. So my next adventure after that was hiking Half Dome in Yosemite. So I just really went for it, and now I get to see some really cool places. You can get a lot. I like the places you can find on foot much better than you can get to by car. So it's kind of that's what sparked my passion for hiking and being outside. So I hope to do a lot more of it.
That is a fascinating piece about the outdoors. Is I frequently hear from people their first experience out there was totally miserable, and yet they are drawn to go back. They need to get back out there and do some more of that. It's a very interesting phenomenon. All right, Buttercup, how about you? Where did you grow up? Where were you raised? And how did you get involved in the hiking cult?
So I am also a native Texan, but I grew up around the Dallas area. And I don't know if you know this about Dallas. It's not exactly a hiking scene. And really, like, if you wanted to get involved outdoors, it was hunting and fishing. And so that's kind of what I grew up around. Very, very typical North Texas boy type of growing up, playing football and hunting and fishing is kind of what I did. And like none of that ever really spoke to me. It was just kind of what people did. And then I joined the military, and that's kind of where I found rucking. And I was like, hey, I really dig walking far. It's a lot of fun to me for some odd reason. And just, the more I got into that and realizing like, ooh, rucking's even better when you get off the asphalt, which is hiking. And so that's kind of what got me into hiking, was just really enjoying walking a long ways, and not having to dodge cars. You get out on a trail, bikes are a little easier to dodge than cars. Yeah, so that's what really got me into it, was just kind of that rucking experience. And what has continued to draw me is kind of like what Lauren said, of just all the places that I really enjoy you find on foot. And yeah, and I just want to keep finding them. And then as far as like the through hiking style of hiking, it's really just, I don't necessarily hike to get to a destination. I hike to hike. And, if you're doing that, it's easier to continue hiking if you just sleep on the trail and then continue hiking the next day.
Now, I thought when you first mentioned rucking, I thought maybe there was some military background there. What branch of the service did you serve?
So I was active duty in the Army when I first came in, and then was a traditional guardsman for quite a while. And now I'm still active with the National Guard here in Texas.
Well, thank you for your service, sir. I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's my day job.
All right. Hey, we're going to take a quick break, pay some bills, hear from some advertisers, and when we come back, we're going to get into the CureSearch story and what this whole ultimate hike is all about. So stay tuned for that. We'll be right back. And welcome back. We are talking to Kris Townsend and Lauren Rump, also known as Buttercup and Magic 8 Ball. Magic 8 Ball, that's kind of growing on me. 8 Ball, that's a good one. That's a good one. I think you should stick with that, Lauren. And in the beginning of the episode here, we kind of heard a little bit about their background, had some fun segments there, but I really want to go back just for a second, 8 Ball, because you mentioned that you'd hiked Half Dome. We went from that miserable 22-mile experience, and you said, hey, let's ratchet that up a little bit more. Let's do Half Dome. I've also done Half Dome, and that is quite a hike. It's a day hike. You can do it in a day. And I don't know about you, but by the time I got to the top of the cables, I was cramping in both legs. And it's kind of terrifying to be hanging on to some metal cables on what seems to be a 70% or 70-degree slope with both legs cramping up. You're still not to the top. So, I mean, how was your experience there, 8 Ball?
There is not a picture in the world that shows the reality of how steep those cables are. I can't find one, but we did it in a day. And I took 3 steps up the cables and looked down at my friend, and I was like, that's it. I'm good. I made it. I can come back down. This is too much. My legs, they don't work anymore. They cannot physically go forward. And there was thankfully we had made it up pretty late in the day. We were planning on camping back, so we weren't hiking all the way back, but There was not a lot of traffic on the cables, which made it very nice. I was able to have like a whole mental war with myself that my legs do in fact still work and they are strong and capable. So I literally was like, on the count of 3, you're going to take one step and put it in front of the other. And I made it to the top and was like tremendously shaking uncontrollably because there's a lot of adrenaline that it took to get me up there. But I would say it's one of the most amazing, honestly, accomplishments that I've done in life. So it was really cool.
Good for you. And you're exactly right. There's no book, there's no description out there that actually does it justice in terms of how steep it is. And I think I've read it's a 45% incline. There's no way it was 45% or a 45-degree incline. It felt like 70 degrees. It was crazy.
I felt like I was like parallel with the rock walking, up, holding onto cables. So
Totally agree.
their math is.
That's right. Their math is off. They need to recalibrate. Now, Buttercup, have you done Half Dome?
I have not. I'm actually planning to do it in, I think, October. Our hiking club is taking a trip out there, and we've got some passes lined up. So yeah, that's the plan, is to get out there late in the shoulder season, and hopefully we get some good weather and can do the Half Dome.
Nice. You'll have to let Lauren and I know your interpretation of what exactly the angle is on that climb.
I definitely will.
Now, tell us about your hiking club. I mean, are you part of a hiking club? Do you run a hiking club? How does that work?
So I'm kind of, I didn't start the club. My friend Justice, a random Canadian down in Austin, decided to start a meetup about 2 years ago. I found it, a little over a year ago. I was looking to mix things up from the solo hiking, and decided to do a group hike with them, and had a blast, and pretty much immediately got more involved with it, and helped kind of host some of the local day hikes that we do, here in the Austin area. And that morphed into, the meetup group becoming a true business and guide service to some extent. So we still do the local day hikes in the Austin area. And we also do kind of lodge-based day hiking trips out at national parks. And we are slowly but surely working towards doing true backpacking trips, out on the national trail system. So yeah, it's very just kind of a grassroots thing that, we're growing as we find needs in the community. Our entire goal is making the outdoors accessible. And we found like the 2 biggest things that keep people from going outdoors is financial and knowledge. So, everything that we do, is either free or as low cost as we can make it. We're not out there raking in the dough with it by any means. So we're doing trips that, not to knock REI Adventures, because they have some great stuff, but like that's kind of what we compare it to. We're running about 60% of their cost, for very similar trips, just much smaller. And then we do a lot of online classes and in person, like intro to backpacking type stuff, and really just to kind of give people that knowledge and answer those questions that's keeping them from getting outside.
That is fantastic. I feel like we could do a separate episode just with your venture here into doing more and more offerings for folks, and maybe doing some guided hikes out there. I mean, that's great. I always love talking to people who are able to take their passion for the outdoors and turn it into more than just a hobby, do something bigger with it. And both of you, both 8 Ball and Buttercup, you kind of found that niche. So congratulations to both of you. What is the name of the club, Kris?
It is Connect and Hike. And we are actually kind of slowly but surely expanding outside of the Austin area. We do some free events down in San Antonio. And then I'm in the process to move into Lauren's neck of the woods. and Justice is going to keep the Austin area going, and I'm going to be standing up Connect and Hike Houston and getting some free events out in that area.
You're franchising this thing. This is great.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We want it to be a nationwide brand of, like getting people outside. It's really important to us, and we know how much it means to the people that come out on our hikes and have that hiker family, even if they can't get out on, and do a through hike or something like that. They can still build a hiker family.
Now, what is the franchise fee if I want to start a Connect and Hike Santa Cruz Valley?
We'll have a call, and I'll give you a high five, and Connect and Hike Santa Cruz will be up and running.
Nice. And maybe we could even start up an ultimate hike somewhere out here too as well. All right. Now, let's talk about the real reason we're here tonight, and that is this outstanding program that CureSearch has come up with in support of pediatric cancer research. So, Lauren, tell us all about, how CureSearch came about and what Ultimate Hike is all about.
So CureSearch has actually been around for 30 years. We used to be under the Children's Oncology Research Program with the federal government. And then about 15 years ago, we branched out and became our own nonprofit, so we could really get strategic with the research we were funding and kind of break away from the restrictions that federal grants put on research organizations. And in doing that, we needed a great way to fundraise, and we created the Ultimate Hike program. So that is our signature fundraising event, and they are endurance hikes that take place throughout the country. We have 7 of them. Next year we will have 8. So there's some exciting things coming in the Ultimate Hike world, but they are anywhere from 18 to 30-mile hikes that take place in one day, all to raise critical funding for pediatric cancer research. So we bring novice hikers, experienced hikers, patient families, people from all walks of life, and get them outside doing something really challenging for a really great purpose.
Now, is there any kind of required preparation that participants have to do leading up to it, or you take anybody?
So we will take anyone. We like to trust that you are grown up and can make these hard decisions for yourself. But what's really cool about the Ultimate Hike program is we also provide expert training. So you might have heard me mention that I was a coach here in Central Texas, and Kris will be coaching our hikers too. And what that looks like is when you register for an Ultimate Hike, you are going to be fully supported from start to finish, not only in your fundraising efforts, but also in preparation for the trail. So we provide 12 weeks of training where our coaches are leading hikes about every other weekend for those 12 weeks. And they'll start, really slow introductory hikes and get up to those longer miles so you can prepare for the trail. And we give you all kinds of nutrition tips, gear tips, anything you might need. We're always talking electrolytes and nutrition and hydration and shoes and blisters and troubleshooting mixed in with the spicy talk that takes place on the trail.
Spicy talk. Is that part of the advertising campaign, the marketing campaign?
Oh, why not? It's fun.
It's
now,
about to be.
You said 7 locations. Where are the locations of the Ultimate Hikes?
So our first hike of the year is here in Central Texas. It takes place in April, and that is a 26-mile hike. And then we head over to the Foothills Trail for our Spring Foothills hike, which is 28.8 miles on the Foothills Trail. Then we go to Shenandoah Valley, and that is a 21-mile hike. After that is PCT in Big Bear Lake, California, which is this year's 21 miles. It used to be 27, but we've kind of shortened that down just a tad. And then we also have a Jackson Hole Ultimate Hike just outside of Jackson Hole in the Bridger Teton National Forest. It's Superior Hiking Trail, which is 25.5 miles. And then we finish it back up for the year on the Foothills Trail again for our Foothills Fall Ultimate Hike.
Wow, I thought these were all going to be in Texas, and these are some prime locations.
Yeah. We like to brag a little bit that we're on some of the best trails in the country. So it is a really awesome event with really great people, and you're getting to see some of the best scenery around.
And before my Texas listeners start phoning in and saying, are you implying that Texas is not a prime location? That is not what I meant. I just, Buttercup himself said that there are some parts of Texas that don't have a lot of hiking opportunities. And so I thought this was just a Texas-based type of opportunity. And no, you're all over the place. You're all over the country. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's pretty great. Jackson Hole is like our newest hike, which is beautiful, but we're hoping to add some more in the coming years. So we're always looking for the next best trail to get people outside.
Okay, and you said this is a fundraiser. This is the prime fundraiser for CureSearch, and so this is not something that's free. I mean, how do people sign up? How do they register? How much does it cost?
So it is a fundraising event. Just to give you a little background on a few statistics on pediatric cancer research and why it's so important that we're raising the money before I hit you with the fundraising amount. Every day in the United States, 42 kids are diagnosed with cancer. And then 2 out of 3 of those kids are going to go on to have lifelong effects, that are anywhere from like liver failure to secondary cancers to infertility. So if those that survive are really going to struggle throughout their life, and we are trying to change that. And so it is a fundraiser, and it is $2,500 is what we ask. But included in that, so when you sign up, registration is $100. A lot of times we'll have promo codes or something like that to get you kind of a different registration fee. But when you sign up, you'll not only be supported throughout your fundraising by CureSearch staff, our hike ambassadors, and our coaches in the fundraising part of things. You'll be supported on the trail. Sorry. And it is a whole weekend experience. So we're actually included in that fundraising amount, are going to give you like the most awesome weekend of your life. Kris will talk about that a little bit here shortly, but you're going to come Friday night. You're going to check in. We're going to have an awesome kickoff party. We're going to carb load you up and give you everything you need to be prepared for the trail on Saturday. And then we're going to transport you to and from the trailhead on Saturday, and we're fully supported. So we're going to have EMS staff on trail with us. We have aid stations every, 6 to 7 miles where you'll come in. You'll sit down if you want to. We'll fill up your water bladder. We're going to bombard you with snacks, pickles, electrolytes, cookies, chocolate, whatever, any type of snack you might want, sweet, salty, we have it for you. And then we'll get you back out on the trail safely. If you need your blisters taped on your feet, we're doing that for you too. And then we'll get you back to the hotel Saturday night, have an awesome dinner, and Sunday morning is an awards breakfast. So it's a pretty significant fundraiser, but it is well worth it for sure.
And about how many participants do you get for each ultimate hike?
So anywhere typically from like 30 to 55 is average. We sell out most of our hikes at 75. And that's just because logistically it's really hard to support people in the ways that we want to if we get many more hikers than that. But our sweet spot, we try to register and have at least 40 to 50 people on trail.
Yeah, 75 people, that's a lot of people to manage. You don't want to lose anybody out there. No.
And we have sweepers, so we have, things in place to not lose anybody. That's not our goal, but there's a few stories I could share.
Oh, stories. We love stories here on Hiker Trash Radio. Before we get to the story, though, I want to hear about how Buttercup found out about CureSearch and how he got involved and what his experience was.
So really, like I said, I help help run Connect and Hike, and we're a fairly well-known hiking club here in the Austin area. Another hiking club based out of San Antonio, one of their kind of primary hosts of that club had done the ultimate hike last year and reached up to us and just said, "Hey, I thought y'all might be interested," and put me in contact with Lauren to just kind of learn more. And so what was supposed to be like a 10 or 15 minute introductory call wound up being like, I don't know, an hour and a half. And I was signed up for a hike and mad fundraising. So I signed up really late in the game. I think I signed up at the end of February and then we did the hike in April. So I didn't get to experience the full, 12 weeks of train up and all of that. And it was just kind of, all right, I got to raise $2,500 and I got to do it quick. And really like, they provide so much support, in giving you those ideas and how to meet those fundraising goals. Like I hit it, I think a few weeks, I think like 2 weeks prior to the hike, I hit the 2,500. And yeah, it was 100% worth it. And I'm happy to keep going in on the hike if you want me to.
Well, before you do, I've got a couple of things you said that really tickled me. I have to go back and follow up on something here. One is it's just a few minute conversation with Lauren, and she's roped you into, hey, you're going, it's full bore. You've got 2 weeks, get the money raised. I mean, she's very persuasive, evidently.
Yeah.
You get on the phone,
Yeah,
if Lauren calls you, if any of our listeners out there end up on a phone call with Lauren, just plan on doing the hike. It's a foregone conclusion at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it's true. I hope you can see, through this episode just how passionate she is about it. And really like it's not a hard sell once you understand, what it's going for, and then how much support. And then like, you really don't have to be intimidated by the fundraising or the mileage. I was fortunate that I had already been training up for the Baton Memorial Death March. And so like the mileage didn't scare me, the trail didn't scare me. The fundraising scared me at first. But I think like 2 days after I signed up, they had a fundraiser call for like letter writing and it's like, okay, like there's some support here. Like I can hit this goal. And I did, with really not that much problem.
Okay, well, I take it back. I'm not as surprised anymore because, Buttercup, if you had signed up already for the Baton Memorial Death March, I mean, you'd sign up for just about anything, it sounds like.
Well, I mean, that one's way cheaper, and about the same mileage. So definitely like the fundraising piece gave me pause and Lauren explained it all and really outlined how much support that I would get on that piece, and how willing CureSearch is to work with you, like if you're struggling with meeting those goals, and I'm sure Lauren can give some more specifics, but like I went into signing up for it really not all that concerned from, the first ask of $2,500, when you're not planning for it's a decent chunk of change.
Yeah, and you also mentioned another hiking club, and I was just wondering if it was a rival hiking club, if that's a thing, like rival motorcycle gangs. You've got rival hiking clubs, kind of like the Jets and the Sharks and West Side Story. I don't know.
You would think that would exist. At least in our area, it really doesn't. We're all pretty mutually supportive. If we have hikers that come out and are like, hey, like I'm really looking for more of a challenge, like I point them to Austin Mountaineers, who's and the guy who runs that's awesome. He just has a very specific type of club that he's running. Austin Backpackers is another great one. And we all kind of, point each other, out as people are looking for different things. Because we all kind of serve a different type of hiker. And my group is definitely more geared towards the novice hiker. And so we're kind of the entry point. And as people decide like, hey, I want to graduate to something harder, like I've got directions I can point them. And even down, we'll get hikers from San Antonio. And I've actually, there's another hiking club from San Antonio that when he's not leading a hike, he comes and hikes with us. And I always, make him stand up and like give a spiel about his club, cause we do have people coming from all over. And it's like, hey, there are some local opportunities. And really trying to partner with those organizations of, hey, our goal is just getting people outside. And however we're able to do that together, let's do it.
That's right. There's no rival hiking clubs out there because it's the outdoor community. It's the trail community. And the trail community is very supportive. I mean, you've got people out there like Buttercup and Cheesebeard and Poop Hands all working together to make a better experience out there for people. So that is fantastic. Now, here is where you get to really sell this to us. I'd like to hear the story that Eight Ball referred to, story or stories. And also I want to hear some highlights from your experience out there on the ultimate hike, Buttercup. So let's go with Lauren first.
So to really sell you on it, you want the fun one where we lost the hiker a little bit. We found her at the airport at PCT, and to get to the airport, she hitchhiked on the back of a motorcycle. But she was safe. She got back on the trail and she completed her hike. She was
wow. That's like the full through hike experience. Hitchhiking on the back of a motorcycle, ending up at an airport, and then back on trail. That's it. You covered it right there.
She did it. And she completed her hike. So it was a great day for her. One of the most, it's a difficult thing. But it's very rewarding, and I think my favorite story actually took place this year. So I got involved listening to a relation session at REI, and one of my friends, Andrea, her daughter is a cancer survivor, and she's sharing her story of what that.
I'm sorry, Lauren. Can you start over again? And Kris, can you mute? I haven't heard her echo. There you go. Let's try it again.
Okay. So one of my most meaningful stories that I think is the real reason why we are all coming together to do what we do here at CureSearch and through the Ultimate Hike can be highlighted through Harper. She is a 14-year-old who hiked the Central Texas hike this year with her mom. And I first learned about Harper about 6 years ago when her mom was at REI sharing her story of what that treatment was like. When Harper was just 1 year old and diagnosed with cancer, and what that was like for their family. And through the Ultimate Hike program, she found her community and a way to give back to the cancer space. And it was Harper's story that got me involved with CureSearch. And this year, as a staff partner, I got to watch her and her mom cross the finish line together she was one of the first few hikers to cross that finish line. Next year, she plans to run it. But it's a real testament to what we're doing and the hope that we're giving families. And it was a pretty meaningful full circle moment for me within the organization, but really cool to watch her cross that finish line with her mom. So I think that kind of is the best. It's the good stuff that comes out of what we're doing.
That is a goosebump moment right there for sure. That'll hit you. That's good. That's awesome. All right. Buttercup, what was the highlight from your experience out there on the Ultimate Hike?
Really the entire hike itself was a highlight. One of the fun things that worked out for me with my schedule was that I was able to come in the day the staff arrived. So on Wednesday and spend some time with just the staff as they kind of got everything ready to go, and the amount of work that they put into creating an experience for folks, and then was also there when the volunteers came in and was able to kind of be a pseudo volunteer for a little while. And the just passion for what they're doing is so incredibly. All the highlights, it really was prior to the event itself was what was so powerful to me. to see these people putting in so much effort and hard work to make this event a success. And it was one of the other highlights, having done some endurance hiking events and things that say like, hey, we got a free pasta dinner the night before. I'm kind of almost expecting, bathtub spaghetti. And it wasn't like even the food that they provided was, really good. And something that every time I tell anybody, they're like, that's awesome. They had a make your own trail mix bar with like literally everything you could ever imagine to put in a trail mix set up, buffet style to make your own trail mix. And like the real, the thru hiker community like that, I think that hits home to know that there's going to be a trail mix bar and they can make their custom mix.
That is great. But you really struck my fancy there with the bathtub spaghetti. Is that a Texas recipe?
Well, when you need to make a lot of spaghetti, and you don't have a big pot, there's only one bigger pot, and that's the tub. It can be done. I've seen it done. I've eaten bathtub spaghetti. It's not the best. It does give you the carbs though.
All right.
You've eaten bathtub spaghetti? Can we talk about this? Like, where?
So I've done some less known, big hike events, local here in Texas where it's not really a fundraiser. It's more just doing it, in memory of or something like that. And there is no budget. It's like a bunch of guys meet up and we're going to throw some backpacks on and walk for a really long ways. And night before, like, let's make some pasta and let's do it big. So yeah.
Now you
it's amazing what
Texas.
The human body can recover from.
You two are from Texas, and so I know you've heard the jokes that start out with, you might be a redneck if, right? Well, you're on Hiker Trash Radio, and, we talk about, what defines hiker trash, and are you hiker trash, and when did you realize you were hiker trash? And I'm just going to put it out there that you might be hiker trash if you've eaten bathtub spaghetti.
I think that's a worthwhile question for your podcast. Just throw it out there and see. I don't think I'm the only one, but I might be.
All right. Hey, this has been fantastic hearing all about your experiences out there, hearing about how this is put together, what the experience is like, and the cause, the very important cause that it serves. So I want to thank each of you for coming on tonight. Do you know where we are right now?
Where are we?
Nope.
Hiking hacks.
That's right. It's time for your hiking hack, and this segment is sponsored by the outdoor clothing brand Magnet Designs. Thru hiker owned and making quality ultralight craft outdoor gear by hand in Bend, Oregon. Designed on trail, built for trail life. Visit magnetdesigns.com with no E in designs. Buttercup, this might be a new website for you to check out on the regular here. So what trail wisdom do each of you have for our listeners to make their next outdoor adventure even better? Buttercup, you're up first.
I'm going to go back to take care of your feet. It's become borderline an obsession of like finding the perfect shoe and the perfect sock, and I've tried a lot of different stuff. I was a boot guy for a long time, and always looking for the lightest boot that still gives the support. I got really happy with the Go Ruck Mac V1 and then the Mac V2 when that came out. And it's more like what a jungle style boot is. So first thing I would say is, when you're talking boots, avoid Gore-Tex like it's the plague, avoid waterproof. You need to let your feet breathe. And I know like some folks don't agree with that, but I'm passionate about like, if I see waterproof on a boot, like I'm throwing it in the garbage. That's it. And then I'm a fairly recent convert to the, not quite a trail runner, but I've got a friend that I've made on Instagram that is a thru hiker, hiking with Puddin'. so trail name Puddin. And she just,
she's been on the podcast too.
Yeah. She finished up, I think, 8,000 miles worth of through hiking not that long ago. And she recommended the Topo athletic shoes to me. So I've been a convert to the Topo Traverse for a while now. And I'm absolutely loving that shoe. I'll probably never buy another hiking boot again, just because it has been such a great shoe. And I think I'm slowly building a Topo network here in Texas. As I go out and recommend the shoe to all the ultimate hikers, and next thing I know, I see them wearing Topos. So it's really fun. It's a great shoe. And then alpaca wool socks. Those I'm a big fan of the Paca brand, but alpaca wool is amazing and makes an amazing sock. And it's a great combo. Alpaca wool socks, Topo shoes. Take care of your feet.
Take care of your feet. If your feet aren't happy, the rest of you isn't happy. So very important note right there. Fantastic. All right. Magic 8 Ball. What kind of trail wisdom do you have for us?
I should have planned better with Kris because he totally took my wisdom. I'm one of the people that might have used to wear boots, and he converted me into Topos. So I won't go through that whole spiel that he just went through again. Thanks a lot. But I think get out there, get outside, do it. I know that, and don't be afraid to try new things. Whether it comes to your feet, your gear, whatever it is, you can troubleshoot and you can go back to what you like, you cannot, but I think get out there and do it. If you're afraid, there are lots of groups like Kris's that can get you outside, but it's a much better place to be, for sure.
I like that. Get out there, try new things like a trail bidet. And Buttercup, what percentage of boot guys use a bidet out there on the trail? I think it's a pretty small percentage. Don't you think?
I think a lot of people are just shy about admitting that the bidet is better. I'm telling you, I'll put one in the mail for you, and then you can do an entire podcast about, hey, the bidet is better.
I'll practice outside with it in the backyard.
Yeah.
All right. So there you have it. We are just about done here. Hope our listeners enjoyed our time with Lauren and Kris. Want to thank them for joining us this week. Magic 8 Ball and Buttercup, how can our listeners keep up with you on social media, and where can they find updates on your latest adventures? 8 Ball, you're up first.
That's me. I try not to be, I'm going to blast out CureSearch's social media. So you can follow CureSearch for like an organizational level overview of all of the things we're doing at CureSearch on Instagram. And then we have an Ultimate Hike Instagram where we keep everybody up to date with all the fun things we're doing over at Ultimate Hike. And it's pretty cool to watch. So.
Okay. Have to check that out. Buttercup?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram also, Kris.hike with Kris. And then Connect and Hike is also on Instagram, Connect_and_hike.
All right. Remember to check out Hiker Trash Radio on social media as well. We are on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. And if you have comments or clips you want to share with me, you can send it to me at hikertrashradio@gmail.com.
Off the beaten path.
Now, unfortunately, we can't always be on the trail. And when we're not, we need to find a way to get our adventure fix. So 8 Ball and Buttercup, I'm going to ask you to each share some outdoor adventure media with our listeners to help them get by. This could be a book, a movie, documentary. We call this segment Off the Beaten Path. Any recommendations for us in the world of outdoor adventure media?
I'm going to share a book, Wilderness, The Gateway to the Soul by Scott Stillman. He does a really good job of going to some pretty cool places, and I love the way he talks about what nature can really do for us as humans, and how powerful it is in connecting to who we are, healing lots of things. And he writes so beautifully of what I think the outdoors really is for a lot of people.
Nice recommendation. Thank you. How about you, Buttercup?
I'm actually going to go with pretty much the same vein. So mental health is super important to me outside of hiking also, and my own struggles with, depression, anxiety. And I just finished Hiking Your Feelings by Sydney Williams. I think that just came out a couple months ago. And it's kind of about her experience and what the trail kind of taught her in dealing with your emotions and your mental health. And really good book. Highly recommend it.
Okay. Love both of those. Those are great recommendations.
What have we not asked you?
And before we wrap things up tonight, just one more segment for you called What Have I Not Asked You That You're Dying to Tell Us About? What did we miss tonight?
You go, Kris. It's all you.
Well, I think I completely forgot to talk about the hike itself. So the Central Texas Ultimate Hike, beyond the day one dinner, and not having to have bathtub spaghetti. Great early morning start, and got out on the Goodwater Loop, which is in Georgetown, Texas. We happen to have a just over 26-mile loop trail that's literally like 20 minutes away from me. It's one of my favorite trails in the area. And that's where they did the ultimate hike. And really the experience with the aid stations and everything that Lauren described. So incredible. And then the biggest kind of emotional, piece of that, the finish line is truly something special. They put, basically everyone, that they're hiking for, has signs out, there at the finish line. And so that last almost quarter of a mile is everyone that, is being hiked for or in memory of. And it's a really powerful way to finish a hike. I would say that is, better than the most scenic vista at the end of a hike that I've ever seen, better than, the top of a mountain, all of it. It definitely the best ending to a hike I've ever had.
That is fantastic. That had to be so emotional. Hey, we are finished. I want to thank each of you for coming on the podcast. I want to thank you for what you're doing in this space. Very important work, and it's hard work. And you guys are doing a great job with it. Really appreciate everything you're doing out there. So listeners, make sure you check out the CureSearch website, social media. Make sure you get out there and you follow Buttercup, see what he's up to these days. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Always remember, the trail is the trail. It doesn't care if you want to go downhill. It doesn't care if it's almost dark and you're looking for a campsite. It doesn't even care if there hasn't been any spicy talk all day long. This trail is the trail. Embrace the sock.